We've had the Israeli officials and the Israeli Defence Force claiming more than 450 UNRWA aid workers are also members of terrorist organisations. Well, we know that UNRWA sacked 9 people. Are they honestly telling us that those other 441 people are totally innocent? There's nothing to see here, no links whatsoever with Hamas. I would be very, very sceptical about that. Let's talk to Gary Mond. He's chairman of the National Jewish Assembly. And Gary, I know you monitor events in the Middle East very, very closely. UNRWA is an organisation that we as taxpayers in the UK stopped funding for a short time under the Conservatives. Now, under the Labour administration, David Lammy is the Foreign Secretary. We're funding them again. We're now promoting them as well. What's your reaction?
Several points. Firstly, UNRWA's compromised position with Hamas didn't just begin on the 7th of October. It began many, many years earlier when they've been heavily involved in education, in schools in Gaza, and have been teaching children to hate Jews. They also work with Hamas on Hamas training camps for children, where you see 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds carrying machine guns and learning to kill Jews. UNRWA is a heavily compromised organisation. It's not just since the 7th of October. Yes, quite a number of them were involved in the actual events of the 7th of October. And indeed, we even hear UNRWA staff are actually keeping hostages. They are completely and utterly compromised. And all the talk that's been going on over the last year should not have just been speaking about the hostages. It should have been speaking about how we're going to replace UNRWA. Yeah. Because UNRWA's days are numbered.
And the fact is, Gary, that there is this international outcry about what the Israeli parliament has done, passed a motion saying that UNRWA shouldn't be allowed to work in Gaza, shouldn't be allowed to work in the West Bank. And the fact is that there are many other aid agencies that are doing that. In fact, UNRWA isn't even the majority aid agency in Gaza, from what I've seen and statistics that I've seen. And there are lots of, the World Food Programme could come in. Nobody is saying for a second it's characterised, as it always is, as those evil Israelis, they want to starve innocent Gazans. That is not what this is. The fact is that this is an aid agency that, yes, has fed a lot of people, but at the same time there are other aid agencies that are not compromised, that don't have terrorists within their ranks, who could feed those people.
Indeed, there most certainly are. And from the UK perspective, there's another point. The world is going to be changing on the 20th of January next year. Donald Trump is going to become President of the United States, and attitudes to the entire situation in the Middle East are going to alter.
I think they are already, Gary. I think they are already. Look at what Marco Rubio has been saying, the new Secretary of State. He appears to be more pro-Israeli than some members of the Israeli Knesset.
Yes, I think that's right. And people often criticise Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. I suspect Marco Rubio is not only on the same page as them, but probably to the right of them. So what we're going to see is attitudes changing. We're going to see the British being left on the wrong side of history on this one, and they're certainly not winning any brownie points with Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government, who are, as time goes on, and becoming actually in a stronger position than they have been before.
It's a very, very interesting point. What do you think David Lammy should do now?
I think David Lammy should resume what he's been doing in the past, and for a while a period of silence from him might be in order.
Gary, thank you. That's Gary Mond there. He's chairman of the National Jewish Assembly. I should say tomorrow, live in studio, Yotam Confino, who you will have seen on numerous occasions on Talk. He's been covering the Israeli-Gaza conflict war for a long time for this station. He's going to be here in London. He's got a new book out. It's called Netanyahu's Israel, Rise of the Far Right. I have ordered a couple of signed copies from him. He's going to be here live in the studio for a while talking about that. That's tomorrow morning on my programme. I'm here between 10 and 1, both tomorrow and indeed on Sunday. Lots to discuss tomorrow. We'll continue this discussion with Yotam. We'll talk about Marco Rubio as well, what Trump has done. And I mean, it's very, very interesting from David Lammy's perspective as well, because he previously has called Donald Trump a neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, but apparently now all is fine, no big issue there, and Donald Trump's happily on his side again. Yet it's fine to promote UNRWA and to put that on their social media channels and other things. It is just a really, really disgraceful thing. More coverage tomorrow on that, I'm sure, as well.